Hello and welcome once again to the Paranormal NightStalker. I am Joel.we, and of course with me as always is Michael Smith. And this is going to be a little bit of a different than what we normally do. Normally we're live, but tonight we're going to be doing this pre-recorded where you've got a special guest with us, Cheri Pang. She was great enough and to agree to come on short notice because there was a death in my family, and needless to say, my attention needs to go to that and to my wife and everything. So we're doing this just kind of a quick, maybe a little 30-minute show to just have something out there. We didn't want to just leave you guys hanging and just not show up on Friday, but that is kind of what we're doing right now. Don't really have a plan or anything, but as anyone who listens to us frequently knows, I could pretty much yammer about anything for a half an hour or more. I mean, I'm just one of those people. As I've joked with Cheri before on her show, Paranormal Horizons, that my goal is now to be paid to shut up rather than paid to talk. So it's easy for me to kill a half an hour. So, like I said, I want to welcome Cheri on the show once again. She's been kind of co-hosting with us a couple of times, and of course, she's been our guest more times than that. And we've been on Paranormal Horizons. She is a medical, traditional Chinese medicine practitioner and medical Qigong. I'm pronouncing that right, correct?
That is correct, Joel.
I always try to make sure I get everything right, and when you throw my hillbilly accent in with other languages, you just usually get it slaughtered. So it was one of the funnier things up here is when I ordered a small Coke and the girl handed me a small ice cream cone. I was like, not exactly what I had in mind. So, like I said,
That's
we
funny.
don't really have anything planned out for the night, so I was thinking just kind of open it over, turn it over to you, see if there's anything that you were wanting, you had in mind. Of course, I know you can't be too long. You've got actual, exposing where we're recording this. You've got Paranormal Horizons in about what 2 hour or 3 hours.
About 3 hours and 15 minutes. We're going to be live on air.
Yeah, now that you can find the Paranormal Horizons on Blog Talk Radio. You just Google search it there. Of course, you're also on iTunes, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, just about anywhere you want to download that. But you can listen to that live on Blog Talk Radio. Also, you guys do call-ins, so if you had a question, you can call in. I think you can even use Skype and call in on that. I haven't
That
tried
is
that yet,
correct.
but
And also, you can call in, and there is a chat room. So anybody has any questions or anything, they can go and type it, and I'm sure we will get it, and we will answer any questions or anything that could be concerning our listeners.
uh, uh, tonight's guest is actually someone we've had on the show before here on the Night Stalker, June Lundgren, right? The Demon Seer.
That
So,
is correct. And then we're going to talk about demons and hauntings, and we're just going to educate our listeners about them. What are demons? What are hauntings? What happens when you have activity? What can you do? So it's more of an educational based our radio show. We try and get as much information as possible so that when the listener walks away, they will be able to use it perhaps not only for their own knowledge, but maybe gain experience and be able to use it for their own experience or whatever.
that's good. It gives them a little bit, knowledge about anything never hurts.
Heck yes.
You know, I'm one of those people that I'm constantly learning about different things, and it kind of drives me crazy at some point. But because I'm also one of those people that if I read one thing in the middle of reading something else, I've got to go figure out about what that was before I can continue with the other thing that I'm doing. And by the time I'm done, I've read like 8 books to figure out what one term means. It drives you crazy after a while. And then, of course, I've got the whole problem with, as I've told you before, my memory's horrible. So I can remember song lyrics from 1995, but sometimes I forget what I walked into a room for by the time I get to the room.
Well, Joe, I think that is not. I think it's not your memory. I think that the older you get, the more you have to remember.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah,
And I'm flushing out other things.
you did put your chicken nuggets in the cabinet the other day, though, right?
Yes, I did. Was making lunch, gonna have chicken strips. Put my chicken strips in the cabinet with the dishes. instead of getting the plate that I was meaning to get, and spent about 5 minutes in the kitchen going crazy, going, where the hell did I put my chicken strips?
Are you serious, or is that a joke?
No,
No,
he
I'm
ain't
serious.
joking.
I did it. I went, instead of getting the plate, I put my chicken strips in the cabinet and then turned around to get my chicken strips. I'm going, where did I put 'em? I had no clue.
Wow,
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
I have some great moments. There's also the time I tried to use my computer with a bologna sandwich. I had my lunch sitting beside me, and I reached over and grabbed it and started clicking and wondering why my mouse wasn't working. And I was using a bologna sandwich. Yes.
I'm teasing you, Joel. Did you get enough sleep?
No, never. Never. I haven't had enough sleep since 1993.
Wow.
I think my
Oh my
last good sleep was in 2008 that
Yeah,
I
we're the
remember.
insomniacs. We're bad insomniacs.
Well, you definitely would like to be able to get some sleep. You can function easier, and that's when your body really heals, is when you sleep. So if you kind of can get some sleep, try to. Even if you have to cat nap, that's better than nothing. And I think that, in Chinese medicine, we look at everybody's different. Literally, every body is different. So, one person may require 6 hours of worth of sleep. Some people require 9 hours. So, to put yourself in a pigeonhole and says everybody needs to be between 8 to 9 hours of sleep. I think it varies. It depends on the biorhythms. It depends on the season. It depends on how your body is. Pay attention, and that's what I normally would say to a client that comes to me, is pay attention to your body, unless you have some issues going on medically that needs to be brought to attention by a medical doctor. Then you need to see a doctor.
Yeah, it's definitely your body lets you know what it needs when it needs it. But I do actually think that I've become more accustomed to like lesser amounts of sleep. Like I said, I have had insomnia for a very long time. I think 93, 94 was probably my worst. No, 95 was my worst year. That was I was actually working with a doctor trying to get onto some kind of normal regimen, and I was on tons of sleeping medication and everything. And there was actually 1 week that I slept 8 hours in the week. I would sleep like 30, 40 minutes here and there, an hour. I think the longest I slept in that time was 2.5 hours
Wow.
in one stretch. There were actually 2 days that I was up, and I know a lot. I've talked to people and they're like, "Oh yeah, well, I've done 2 days up. Well, I was having a party with this part. I'm like, no, I'm laying in bed in a dark room with everything off and my head covered up, trying to fall asleep because I haven't been asleep for 24 hours, and I can't fall asleep." They had
That's
actually
hard.
they had actually put me on so much sleeping medication that when it stopped working, I built up a resistance very quick to it. When it stopped working, that the doctor told me that he can't put me on anything else or any stronger, or it'll kill me. He's like, you're at the top right here. Once this stops working, you're on your own, because if we put you on anything else, it's going to kill you. Like, okay. But, it did. I got to say, the older I've gotten, the better. And I also think the drastic time change helped. Going from East Coast to West Coast, I think that actually helped a lot, because my body, I was spent 30 years on the East Coast dealing with, like, right now it's almost what? Almost 9 o'clock there? Or no, almost 8 o'clock there.
Almost 8.
Yeah, it's almost
Yeah.
8 there, so it's only, it's almost 5 here. So at midnight here, it's actually like 3 a.m. there, so I think I've kind of fooled my body into thinking it's later than it actually is, at least according to the time zone.
So what do you guys think about having switching? Us on the West Coast, are you guys up in North? Well, you, Joel, do you have to do the time zone change where you fall back and
Oh,
spring forward too?
yeah, we still do that.
Right. What do you
Although
think about that? What's your feeling about doing that kind of thing?
I really don't see much of a point in it, honestly, for me, I think, well, they're actually talking about, here in Canada at least, actually ending daylight savings time. And they're actually talking about stopping the time change. And to me, it makes sense. Because think about it, you spend so many months in one time frame, and you get used to that schedule. Your body gets used to that schedule, and then you change it. And it kind of, for how many weeks, then you're kind of out of whack. You're getting up earlier, or you're staying up later. Your meal schedules are off. You're getting hungrier at weird times. This kind of stuff. I think it's unneeded. I mean, it was back during when they created the time. It was needed then because basically the work days and things like that started with the rising sun. So when the sun started rising later, they needed to change time to make it later. But now we don't. Our days are dictated by whenever we have to be, wherever we have to be. So to me, like I said, if they do away with it, I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't have any problem with it.
I would personally like to see daylight later at night myself, and it's nice to be able to, even though it's darker if you get up early in the morning, at least you have more daylight, especially those, it probably is more advantageous when people have to work a 9 to 5 job. It's not
Yeah,
dark all of a sudden. At least they have some time to be able to adjust and things like that. Yes, most definitely.
yeah. And our thing here, like during the summer, we don't have we don't have a lot of nighttime. I I think I've shown you pictures, Sherry, that I've taken at like 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and it looks like dusk.
Oh yeah, it's,
You
it's
know,
still it's still late. It's
yeah.
amazing.
I've actually the latest I've seen the sun up has been close to 1:30, and I'm not going to sit there and say it was like bright, blue skies, birds chirping, but you didn't need lights on. Like outside, you didn't need a porch light on or anything.
That's
It was still light
amazing.
enough.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, when we went out this past weekend to to look at a spot where we were going to be actually setting up trail cams, as I was telling you earlier, we're going after Bigfoot. I seen something that sadly the pictures didn't come out, and it kills me because it's something that probably was a once in a lifetime sight. And we were up the side of a mountain. It takes us about an hour to get to this point. It's about 30 kilometers or more outside of where I live in Kitimat Village. And I was literally standing on the side of a mountain in the middle of night and day. To one side of me was the moon and the stars, and to the other side of me was blue skies and the sun. And I'd never
I,
seen anything like that in my life.
I would love to see that. It was probably a once in a lifetime experience, let alone capture that on film. Were you able to get it
No,
on
they did
film? Or?
the you can see the light coming over the mountains, but that's about all you could see, and the moon, and you can tell where the moon is. But I wasn't able to capture the blue sky to it and all that. It was too dark at that point.
Oh wow!
But I'm telling
Oh,
you,
that would have
that's
been.
I still haven't gone through all of the video and everything, so I may still have hope for it, but it's like I said, it was just one of those things where I'm standing there looking at it, and it was breathtaking because, like I said, where we are up here, if you get up high enough, you can see the sun all the time. Especially during the summer fall hours, the sun never completely sets. If you look behind the mountains, you always see the sun. You can actually follow it where it's rising again.
That's beautiful.
And to be able to stand there, like I said, just look to that we were up high enough that we actually got both the moon rising and the sun setting at the same time. And it was a full big moon, and you could still see the sun and the blue skies. And like I said, I had to put I did a video on that, and I actually put it in the video that, I'm standing here in the middle of nowhere, literally in between day and night.
That's beautiful.
And
Wow.
that's the only way I could describe it because like it is way out in the middle of nowhere. But it is absolute. Like I said, it was an absolutely amazing sight. It was just incredible. So I know you are a busy lady, Cheri. So is there? I know you were doing a convention again this weekend, weren't you?
Yes, I was, just for one day, and then I'm going to be back next weekend. No, I have one weekend coming off, and then I'm going to be coming back on, and I'm going to be doing the Big Body, Mind, and Spirit Expo. So I'm doing a big gallery reading, and, it's nice to be able to be back on stage again and hope bring some healing and comfort and some closure to people that are out there in the audience. So, yes, I've got 1 week coming off, literally off, and then I'm going to be back on again. So it's nice to be able to be home for a change.
Yeah, I know you're always running and busy somewhere, and of course you're doing you were doing marathon running as well, but now you're into weightlifting, right? Or bodybuilding.
Well, yeah, I'm in the process of prepping for competition. So it's not bodybuilding per se. So when we say bodybuilding, people think of massive muscles and big bulky arms and everything. But no, realistically, I'm looking at competing for. I'm really pretty sure I'm just going to be looking at figure. There's bikini, there's figure, there's physique, bodybuilding, and powerlifting in those levels for women. And I'm looking at either figure or physique. So that's where I'm in the process. It's been a big journey, and I love it. And I quit running, so it's just it's that time in my life where I can focus on something different, and I'm still bringing balance to my body. So when I teach yoga or I teach the different things that I do or share what I do, I want to be the epitome of a person who is balanced, a person that's becoming whole, and it's being able to walk the walk and talk the talk at the same time. So that's why body, mind, and spirit is so important for me. The body is doing the competitive, doing the physique training, doing the the figure training, what I need to do to get on stage. The other part of the Chinese medicine is the mental aspects of my mind, being able to look at the body and just the facts, man. It's not about emotions. Just show me the facts. And I look at it from a very mental and very medical viewpoint. And then the spiritual, where the psychic and the mediumship comes through. Remote viewing comes through. That's the spiritual. So bringing all those things to become a balanced person and try to being whole. That way I can be the best version of myself and be able to share that with those that I am in contact with.
Yeah. Now, with remote viewing, I know a lot of people kind of, I guess most people, when they think of remote viewing, they kind of think of the stuff that was done during World War II. Like oddly enough, the Nazis were really into the mysticism and that kind of thing. They thought they would be able to get psychics and mediums to work like sonar and put them in a room to constantly scan and find out where the Allied forces were. And that's what a lot of, I'm not even putting it strictly in Germany, but the U.S. did do this too. They did a lot of remote viewing. So that's a lot of, when you hear the term remote viewing, that's a lot of what people think is it's kind of like the ability to spy on somebody in the shower or something. and I know that is not the way you're referring to it. So when you say remote viewing, how is it exactly, or what is your meaning behind it?
When not for me, and I can only speak for myself. the shower trollers, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just trying to bring some laughter to this. But when I see by remote viewing, being able to, I use my clairaudience, not my clairaudience, but my clairvoyance, my inner vision, being able to have that sixth sense to be able to see those that have crossed over. It's not limited to just the people that have crossed over. It could be places or things. And so when I remote view, I see those things that are out there and be able to put myself in myself to that area and pick out things, pick out the let's just say the location, the feeling you get, any type of energy, the people you get from there that inhabits that place or inhabit that place, what it looks like. It's just by using your inner vision and being able to put yourself in a place that you can see without actually being there. That's what you call remote viewing. Being able to check in with my kids. I mean, if I know that my connection with my children, I can pretty much see if I wanted to do that, which I don't. But if I wanted to check up on them, I can go and see where they're at and what they're doing and how their state of being, where they are and what they're doing at the same time.
I'm still thinking about Joe in a trench coat peeking over a shower rod, but I was wondering, since you brought it up, have you ever used your remote viewing like in a search and rescue kind of application?
No, I haven't. I never had that opportunity. But I do remote viewing when there is people that have called me for missing cats, missing dogs. That's remote viewing.
Yeah, because I know that
being able to get a picture of that cat and being able to connect with that cat and know where it's at. Get a visualization of where he is, what he's doing, how he's feeling, those kind of things. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just wondered if you'd ever had a chance to do it on like a search and rescue for a person or anything like that, or a child.
No, just animal. just an animal. I lost my cat. Would you be able to help me where it's at? Show me a picture of your cat. Just text me a picture of your cat. Boom. Right there. See a cat with...
Maybe you can use that when Joe loses his chicken nuggets next time.
Oh, you mean a chicken nugget?
Have you seen these nuggets?
As much as I lose stuff, it's not a bad thing to have.
Ed Dames. I would love to have Ed Dames on my show. Ed Dames is to me, I've heard him on Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. The guy is a master of remote viewing. He's worked for the government. He used to be, I'm not sure what branch of the Air Force, but look under Ed Dames, E-D, and then Dames, D-A-M-E-S. And he teaches about remote viewing. He's been in the military. They use him. I don't know if he still does, but the guy is just amazing. That's all he does is remote viewing.
It is something we'd have to maybe look into combined forces and try to get him to come on and talk to us.
Hard to find. Hard to get him on. But, boy, if we can get him on, I would love to have him on, your show, my show, whatever. And, like you said, combined forces, do a live feed, whatever. Ed Dames is the top-notch remote viewer. Absolutely. He's the criminal top.
I know, like Joe said, I know that the intelligence communities have used remote viewing. They had a whole program of that. There was even a movie of it, I think.
Mm-hmm. There is. His name is actually Major Ed Dames.
Yeah, The Men Who Stared at Goats, I think it was called. But yeah, there's all kind of stuff like that. It's interesting. It really is. As much as I lose stuff, I need you. I'm like Joe. I put stuff down and it's gone. So,
well,
I want to share it again. I've lost something.
I always have to quote Ozzy Osbourne. Of all the things I lost, I miss my mind the most.
I always feel this way. It's not that we're really losing our minds. Our minds in society today, we always have to be busy. We have to go and, whether we have to go and where they're so task oriented, whether it's we have to pick up the phone, we got to check our Facebook, we have to check our email, we have to make some calls, make appointments, yada yada. It goes on and on and on and on. And I think that sometimes we're not present in that present moment. We're always thinking ahead. So when we're actually doing something, we're not present. So we're looking at something ahead of time, and then when we have to backtrack, then we lose that time where we were supposed to, like your keys or like your chicken nuggets and things like that. I don't think that we're losing our minds. It's just we are so used to being so task oriented that we think ahead of it, we're not being present at that given moment.
Yeah, I could definitely see
Well, I don't know.
that
I
and
think I
understand
just
that.
do my best.
Mm-hmm.
I do my best thinking sometimes doing the dishes because Joe will tell you I always have dirty dishes in the sink. I mean, I do them all the time. It seems like, but I could do my best. I do my best research thinking sometimes doing dishes. I'll tell Joe I was doing dishes and this thought came to me, and that's happened more than once, So
Well, I think
because
it's something where we
my
actually,
mind's not engaged as much.
yeah, I think it's when you actually kind of step away from whatever situation where you're thinking, you're just concentrating, you're sitting there doing the dishes, you kind of go into automated mode, How many times we've done dishes before? It's just not something you think about. It's not.
Yeah.
It just kind of clears your head because definitely, like when I'm doing this, I'm always thinking of what do we need to do with the podcast? What do I need to do with the site? When is the next video coming out? What are we going to do for the next live stream with PNBC? Do I need to contact? Have I contacted this person? Have I contacted that person? Have I done this yet? There's always
Goes on and on.
Yeah.
It goes on
Oh,
and on.
definitely. It's always a never-ending, continuous cycle of what do I need to do next. And that's it. And actually, even sitting here talking to you guys, I remembered another thing that I had forgotten to do that I need to do. Actually, I actually forgot there was a couple of emails I needed to return today, and I forgot about it. And one of them actually is to a future guest, Ryan with the Mutual UFO Network. I've been in contact with him. He's going to be on hopefully in November. He had to be booked pretty far out, and I forgot I was supposed to email him what we're going to be talking about and the time frame to set up so he could because he's on the East Coast as well.
Yeah, it makes a big difference in time, especially
Yeah.
when we're doing radio.
Yeah, it's the biggest thing. Which, I got a guest. I don't mind blasting him again. If you ever get contacted from someone from iGhost Connect or iGhost Investigations, just ignore him. Well, he was actually supposed to be the guest for, a week ago, when you're hearing this, and no show, no call, no nothing. I talked to him the morning before we were
Oh,
supposed to record. I messaged him back 3 times that day, not a word.
oh wow, that's too bad.
And that's just
Wow.
like, that's just, I ruined our PG rating whenever we recorded that one because I was like, oh, just fuck him,
Wow.
And you
I
ruined it
s-
again.
yeah, well, it's like I said, I think you can squeeze 1 or 2 in PG and still be okay. I mean, this isn't the PG of the old days, back when we were kids. When we were young, you weren't allowed to say poop without being bleeped out or something. But yeah, that was like, just like I said, it's just kind of a slap in the face. It's like, you can't even bother to send a message. Oh, sorry, something came up, whatever. So I just said, oh, well.
That's too bad when people are, sometimes they're not responsible or take, at least give you the common courtesy to say, I can't make it, and be honest with the person. It does happen. We're all human. We all sometimes
Oh, yeah.
forget, or, we have things come up or misscheduling, but, just to ignore a person and not be able to, respond, especially when you're on radio, you already have a schedule. Then it puts you on kind of high, kind of puts you on alert, and then, you learn just to kind of wing it, and that's what has happened to Jason and I when we've had people like that. We have people once in a while flake out on you and have the same situation, but what we've learned is that we just wing it and we just call it between Jason and I, and we just talk about anything. There's so much to talk about in our neck of the woods, Joel, from paranormal, metaphysical to spiritual. It's endless. We can go on
Yeah.
and on and on and on. And so, but it's good to be able to have somebody that is, a little bit more courteous and at least give you headways.
Oh, yeah.
So, but
Well, yeah, that's the same with us because I found out here recently, actually looking up stuff for the guy, like I was just talking about, the MUFON guy, that we basically are this part of British Columbia. I can't remember the name, but it's something the like UFO capital of Canada.
Wow, really?
There are more sightings seen in, I can't remember the area now, between Kitimat and I can't remember the other 2 points, than like anywhere else in British Columbia or anywhere else in Canada. I think it was. I was like, whoa, I had no clue about that. I mean, I know we have a lot of cryptozoology stuff around there, but we've also got like massively dense forests where anything could get in there and hide. You could hide a freaking tank in the middle of the woods here and it never be found. Someone was cleaning up our group was cleaning up the river. They do it every year. They clean up the riverbanks. They found a freaking car. A car.
How long do you think it's been buried? How long do you think
They
it's been abandoned?
It looked like it had been abandoned at least 30 or 40 years.
Wow.
That thing had been sitting down there for 30 or 40 years.
And you just finally got discovered, huh?
And yeah, it just got discovered. They were like pulling up sheet metal. They were pulling up roofing tiles. They were pulling up shopping carts, and then they found a car.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like, so that, and the thing of it is, they do this every year, and this year they found a car.
So let me ask you.
Hmm?
Let me ask you, since you guys are in the UFO capital or the area where it's pretty prominent, so what do you see? What's your feeling on when you see these things on, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or even on Coast to Coast AM if you get their feed? When you see these videos of people randomly shooting things that consider are UFOs or possible UFOs, do you feel that a lot of it's CGI, or do you find that maybe it might be authentic? What's your take on that?
Oh, she had to go there, didn't she?
I had to. I'm sorry, but I had to go there because I don't know anything about this. And like I tell people,
I think for me personally, you go on.
Go ahead.
Okay,
I'll go. I think some of the things are misidentification. I think some of them are probably aircraft, government projects that, and that's been verified to be true. People have seen government aircraft that weren't rolled out yet for public knowledge that they saw. Some are probably obviously hoaxed. Natural phenomenon, but not all of them. It's a big universe out there, and the arrogance to think that we're the only technologically advanced civilization is ridiculous. I mean, because if you look at all the suns in the universe and the planets around those suns, and the fact that we don't know, I mean, we have a very narrow definition of what life is. We know what life is on our planet and how it works, but we don't necessarily know what the definition of life on someplace else is. And so I think that it's entirely possible, if not quite likely, that there are civilizations much more advanced than ours that probably come here on a regular basis. And seeing how, especially after we acquired nuclear capability, the amount of sightings increased. And some of those sightings actually involved flyovers of nuclear launch sites. And there was actually times when the missiles were taken offline. They didn't work. They were shut down. They couldn't launch. And then at least one time I know of where the launch codes were entered. So I mean, there's and these are things that were verified by government people, military people that were there, saw these things and reported them. So there is something to it. But I don't think that everything is a UFO. I mean, it's in the sense that it's alien. It's unidentified, certainly. But not everything that's unidentified that flies is alien, if that makes any sense.
You know, anything,
That's right.
everything that flies is not extraterrestrial.
Yeah, I mean, didn't mean to come from someplace a
Yeah, and
gazillion light years from here. We don't know what
I
it is.
I feel the same way. It's like anything you look at because, like I've said, I'm part of a lot of different groups on Facebook that deal with paranormal and ghost stuff, and it's like, what do you see in this picture? I see somebody that needs to clean a window. I see a reflection. I see, it's things like that, and it's the same thing. The people get something, and then they automatically their brain goes to, oh my God, could this actually be, and then that's what they see. There's a lot of logical explanations for a lot of it, and then there's also a healthy amount of them that are going to be, faked. They're going to be hoaxes, and of course, you also got to run into the problem with the internet being that something that is not put up as a hoax can quickly be downloaded and re-uploaded by somebody else as a hoax, and it be completely forgotten that it had absolutely nothing to do with the original posting to begin, at all. I'm always reminded of a few years ago here, a guy in film school had uploaded a video that he did by computer. It was part of one of his class projects of his niece being stolen by a golden eagle. A gold eagle just swoops down out of the sky, grabs his baby niece, and flies off, while his brother-in-law and his sister go chasing after it. Well, this video got so popular that and taken as real that so many people believed that they just watched an eagle swoop down and steal a baby. It actually took his professor at film school coming out and saying, no, this was a class project. This is not real. He got an A. It's a very good video, but it is not real. And because somebody he had uploaded it to YouTube to show his family, including the sister and his brother-in-law that were in the video, but it got downloaded and re-uploaded and re-uploaded and re-uploaded and re-uploaded until he saw it on a news feed, and he's like, wait a second, that's my video. But couple watch helplessly as eagle steals baby was the headline of the headline of the video. So
they should have been a National Enquirer, right?
Yeah, those are the things that you look at. I've said it before. Wow. Right now, we live in an age where seeing isn't believing anymore, unless you actually witness it with your own two eyes. No video, no pictures or anything.
That's crazy.
Well, guys, we got a good amount in, and again, is there anything you want to throw in before we sign off for the night?
No, I'm good.
Okay, and Cheri, anything you want to put in some plugs? Get in where they can find you.
Hey, that's you guys. Thank you for supporting PNBC. We really appreciate it. And is it Night Stalkers Paranormal?
No, Paranormal NightStalkers. We're the opposite way.
Night Stalkers. I get the two mixed up. Nothing, no pun intended. I get them all mixed up. But no, I just want to thank our listeners for supporting us. And, without you guys helping us grow, that's what it's all about, is learning and sharing and just helping each other evolve, learning about the unknown, learning about things that we may know. And that's what it's all about, is being able to educate and share and grow with each other. That's all I got to say, guys.
Now, Cheri does do readings. You can book a reading if you'd like on her. You could go to her website, which I think I did the tiny URL Cheri Web, right?
That something like that. It's pretty long.
Or you can go to Cheri's website, or you can go to her Facebook page, which is Psychic Medium Cheri, and that can lead you then to way of booking a one-on-one actual sit down and have a reading with her. She can do it over the internet or through the phone. You do not have to physically be in the room with her. You can find that on her, and that is right, with the Psychic Medium Cheri on Facebook.com, correct?
Yes, Psychic Medium Cheri on Facebook, or you can get a hold of me at, I forgot the tiny URL, but you can go on www, and then it's psychicmediumcheri.weebly.com. .weebly.com. So But
Yeah.
thank you, Joel, for putting a shout out for me. I appreciate it.
No
I
problem.
didn't expect you to do that.
No problem. That's what we're here for. And like I say, I always kind of anytime I see anyone on Facebook or anything, I personally do recommend getting a reading done by her. She is to date still the only psychic medium I actually recommend because I've had a reading by her and I know what I saw was not any kind of game or smoke or mirror. It was not a John Edwards sitting there. I hear a A and a D and an R and an O and a Elemento P. Did anyone match yet? So that kind of thing. It was a kind of shocking experience for me, but like I said, you're the only one to date I will actually recommend as far as getting readings done.
Well,
And I
thank you.
no, you are
I'm very
very
welcome.
welcome, and I want to thank you again for coming on and being with us tonight on such short notice. And to everyone else, if you want to find anything more about PNBC, you can find us on Facebook at Paranormal BC. Or for the Paranormal Night Stalker, I've had some trouble getting because I might as well finish this. For the Paranormal Night Stalker, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Google Plus, Google Play, iTunes, Podcast Addict, Stitcher, Spotify, SoundCloud, or just about anywhere else you want to look. You can find most of it by just looking up at Night Stalker Pod or Night Stalker Podcast. For PNBC, we have the Facebook page, which is at Paranormal BC. Or you can find us now online on our website at www.paranormalbc.com. The website is going to have bonus stuff that you're not able to find on Facebook or anywhere else. So if you got, we'll specifically say the Bigfoot video we were talking about earlier, I'm going to actually have pictures we took of what I believe to be a Bigfoot habitat and possibly a Bigfoot print. That's only going to be online. It's only going to be on the website, not on Facebook. So, as I think I've hit everything else, I'm going to play the exit song, go out and have my dinner, and we will talk again next week.